our 20th conversation under the auspice of a new conversation that we're calling In Search of the Behind the Chair Millionaire, or people that are on that path. And as you're going to see tonight, in addition to earning a great living at Posh salons, we're going to have a conversation on how people are building wealth in that brand as well. My guest tonight is Lindsay Pyle. I'm going to call it Growing at Supersonic, Secrets of the 1%. I would definitely put Lindsay and her team in Posh Salon inside of that 1%, that 25, 26, 27 salons in the community of 2,500, and out of Kokomo, Indiana. So when you have an appreciation of the population in that area and what she's doing, I'm going to call Guinness Book of World Records tonight, because I think there's some unprecedented stuff going on. Summit coach Sally Montalban. Actually, Sally's the person that kind of blew in my ear and got me on this. And I think we've been wanting to bring Lindsay on for a while, and we finally got the conversation going, and here we are. So she's been on a roll. Opened the salon on the front end of the second decade in the new millennium in 2012, from 140 to 415 to $1 million. She's going to crack 2 million this year. So her ride's been nothing short of spectacular. Her stats are very off the charts. When you really look at her referral and her new business at double digit, if you hang out with her and you Google top salons in Kokomo, she's got her Google page 1. She's there. She's got an extraordinary Google for Business page, website, social media. She'll be talking a little bit about that tonight. Color business, she's got about a third of her business in color, and rebook at 60%. She'll tell you about her story, so I don't want to take anything away from that, but in a nutshell, graduates high school in 97, hair school in 98, opens her first salon in 04, attends her first summit in 2012, and the rest is history. If you don't follow her on Instagram, it's posh.salon.spa.boutique. And she's just got some great branding going on there. If you and her Facebook handle is at Posh Salon and Day Spa. So any of you that have any comments or questions and you want to reach out to her either on Messenger on Facebook or direct message on Instagram, feel free to do that. Those are her handles. Now, she's in my green room. I'm going to go get her. Going to get her talking about the story a little bit. And then she's doing some interesting things on digital marketing, branding, and I love what she's doing on her PDMs and how she's growing her people's income and wealth. So let me go get her now, get her talking about what she's doing. Hold on. I got to unpair some stuff here. Here we go. I go over here. I hit back to meeting. She comes up. I unmute her. You make her feel welcome. Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm wonderful. You and I had a little bit of an opportunity to chat before you came on tonight, and I can't wait to start the interview. And I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to give us a few minutes of your life. It's always wonderful.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you tonight.
Well, we always like to start with the story because the story makes it personal. And there's a lot in your story that people of the salon community can identify. So get us started. Who are you? What got you into the biz? How'd you get started and to get to where you're at now?
Great. So my name is Lindsay Pyle. I'm born and raised right here in Kokomo, Indiana. I went to beauty school in 1998, graduated, and worked in the salon for a few years, and decided to open Posh in 2004. I opened as a booth rental salon, and I learned a lot in those first few years. Had my first walkout in 2009.
So you were christened and baptized in 2009, huh?
Absolutely. Those are tough times. That's a lot to handle. And at that time, it was kind of a crossroad of where do we go from here? And my sales rep, Leslie, that I heard you say was on here, she really encouraged me to attend Summit and kept pushing that this is something you need to do. And it was something at the time I really didn't feel like I had the money to do. I was struggling. I had a walkout, and it didn't feel like I could afford that. And I had a Stephanie Reitzman, which is now a shareholder today, had previously worked in a Summit salon and said, I think you can do this, and I think you should do this. And so between her and Leslie, we made it happen. And I attended Summit in Tampa in 2012. And at that time, Jane Salisbury became my coach, and Jane Salisbury Gibson. And what a mentor she was. She's retired now, but she really led me, believed in me. I think having a coach after going through Summit is life-changing. I think it's probably was the most important thing for me in holding me accountable to follow the steps that Summit created and to implement those, and know that every month I had someone to check in with to question, had I got these things done, and here's your next set of things. And that was really helpful. From there, when she retired, I was blessed to be introduced to Sally Montalban, and she's been a delight to work with as well. In that time, in 2017, we expanded the salon and doubled in size. And so Jane kind of started the building process with me, and handled financials and how to go to the bank for the second time. And then Sally come in right as that expansion happened, and has really helped me to grow that this last 3 years, and to double that in size, and also grow leaders within the salon, because with that expansion came shareholders and new roles for people within the salon, and that was a new hat for me as well.
Yeah, and what as you're taking me on the ride, it's like wow. So there's been a lot of transformation. Give us a taste as to what it's like to be you, your salon, your culture now versus what it was like not so long ago. How has this journey changed you, your people, and how has that reality changed?
Sure. I think before it was very much held hostage to, you needed these people to financially be there, and you couldn't make the decisions for your company that I needed to be made because I was fearful. And growing the company and making it a company, not just a shop, it's really transpired the fact that you can make the decisions you want to make. You can implement the programs you want to implement, and know that this is the way we do it. The team knows this is the way that we do it. And there's a lot of relief that you're not held hostage. If you lose one along the way, you've got someone you're growing already to replace that loss. Not that we ever want to lose anyone,
Right.
But in the world of hair, it happens. I mean, people get married, they move away, we've got one that just came back after moving away. So I think those relationships are important to stay healthy and good. I think that's a growing process too, Michael. I think, when you start, you learn how to break up. That was something that Summit really taught me was, how when you do lose a stylist, what's a good way of breaking up in that? And I think those are all hard lessons learned along the way.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And we don't, we identify less with those experiences. We take them in stride. We know it's part of the journey. So it just doesn't. It's not like we don't care. I think there's an intelligence and a wisdom in our caring. So we care, but we can stay somewhat detached with love and humanity. And it sounds like that over the years you've been able to just kind of evolve and grow into that, which is a rite of passage in and of itself. There's many salon owners that never make that transition and live to regret it, as you know.
Absolutely.
So where do you go from here? What's next? You've realized a lot of your vision. Do you have any aspirations? What's left on your bucket list?
Well, like I said, 3 years ago, I took on 3 shareholders, Perry, Stephanie, and Tia, and they have been integral in helping us grow the company to the next level. We do have a leadership retreat scheduled this year. This will be our first annual. I'm really excited about it, looking forward to setting new goals, making new plans. I think it's important every year to really evaluate where you are, because what needs to happen next year and our goals for next year are really completely different than they were for this year. So I'm looking forward to bringing on the team to, I guess, help brainstorm on different ideas they have on where we go next from here. Something we've done in the last 2 years is add a bridal department. And I don't know that we really hear much about that within the summit world, but it's been successful for us. We picked 2 people to be the bridal coordinators, and they've done a fabulous job at growing that department and setting those on-site weddings or in-site bridal weddings up and making sure that's executed, because those are pretty big, important days. So it's important that they're run properly and scheduled right. That's been a good growth for us that I know we're planning to talk about for the future. I think PDMs, in my opinion, is the most important part of the business. There's a lot that happens in those PDMs.
Let's pivot there now. I'm just only because as I've gotten to know you and kind of the role you've been on, PDMs, I would say from the outside looking in, and what you've done with them. So it's just not, the role of PDM, but how they've evolved over the years, I really believe is a driving force in your culture, where your people are hanging in terms of their livelihood, their W-2 income, how they're taking advantage of opportunities to build some wealth so that over time they've got more to show for it. So start with that. And there was a couple of questions I asked you before the interview that got my attention. You have approximately, in terms of service providers, about a village of 35, give or take, yes? And you have more than one person that has exceeded, we'll call it a 6-figure W-2, that are at 100,000 or more. And I think you told me, was it 3 or 4? I can't remember.
3.
And then you've got quite a few that are at what I would call higher 5-figure, 80-something, 90-something a year, and headed towards the 6-figure mark. And your range, what kind of blew me away is you several of these people are 24-hour-a-week people, so they're making extraordinary income for it. Not bad for 24, 25, 26 hours a week. Talk about that.
So most of our scheduling is on a 6-hour shift. We do have some ladies who choose to, and gentlemen who choose to do a 12-hour shift, a double shift, and be in the salon less days a week. I think that flexibility has been really important in maintaining stylists, meeting them where they're at. If they're just had a baby and schedules need to change, or, daycare hours, being flexible to adjust with them on that. And in PDMs, we do discuss things such as that. I think you had asked me when we were discussing earlier about their IRAs and how we do that. So I bring in a financial planner twice a year. They can reach out to her at any time if they want to up, their withholding from their paycheck to go in that. And I really put an emphasis on the importance of that, of the importance of retiring someday and having a nest egg built and something to fall back on. As well as bringing in maybe a short-term savings plan that they set up with the financial planner that we can withhold from their check for maternity leaves, or maybe they're just saving up for a big vacation for their family. Just different things such as that we discuss in our PDMs. Of course, we go over, our monthly numbers and how are we going to improve that, and maybe what kind of topics or what things they're struggling with, how I can support them every month behind the check to be better. But I think those wealth planning and short-term disability plans, things like that, I think that's an important thing when you look at their overall building of wealth.
Yeah, I mean, what blew the kind of the sides off of my brain box is that, yes, there is that core component called, your monthly KPIs and hitting your goals and level jumps. And by the way, did you tell me you have 15 level jumps going on this year so far?
Yeah, we've had 15. I'm so proud.
Yeah, and so at that 15, so your people are growing what I would say at a higher speed, not only through the levels, but you see that reflected in their W-2s. And of course, that conversation's happening in PDM, but now you're also personalizing it by having conversations about IRA, about short-term disability, about you were telling me that you're notorious for giving demonstrating support and being with people when they buy their first new car or they go to close on their first new home. Talk about that piece.
Right. So I'd like to think they all feel comfortable in coming to me with those things. Just helping guide them on, getting out of a rental and buying their first home and who to meet with. And maybe a lot of times they've never met with a realtor. They don't even know where to start. So helping set up those connections and setting up the connection with the bank. And I've even went with them to the car dealership and sat down just because they were afraid they'd never bought a car before. So we do life together. I do life with them every day. I say they're like my children. They're important to me, and yeah, that's a part of our PDMs too. When we're setting goals for the year of where they want to be, sometimes that's a goal. I want to be able to buy a car. So when I hit level 3 or whatever level that might be, that's what I'm going to do, and we'll work backwards on how to get there and make it happen.
Yeah, and so now the PDMs are as much about life as it is about livelihood. You're right. I mean, the livelihood is about let's grow your clientele. Let's get you jumping. Let's get you to a 5-figure, 6-figure income. But when you're having conversations about let's what's the end game here? What do you want for your life this year? And depending on the genre, the age, how long they've been, it's my first rite of passage is my first new dependable car, and you're in that conversation. You're out doing the field trip with them, and then the biggie, my first home, and that's like I mean that's a big deal, and that's now part of your PDM. In addition to that, the IRA where people are building long-term savings, and you've got your financial planner. Did you say comes in twice a year to keep that conversation going?
Right. So she comes in twice a year, and we'll set up 30-minute meetings with every person in the building, and just go over kind of what we just discussed. Where are you at? What are your goals? What can we do to get you where you want to be next?
What are your because this is very unique. I would call this the highly unique, sustainable, value-added point of difference of being part of the Posh brand. This is not typical. This is unprecedented. How do they receive that? What do they make of that, or do they pretty much don't know any better? So they take it for granted, and it's part of the ride.
I think it's part of the ride. I think it's discussed in their interview. These are benefits of working here. I think it's just become a part of our culture. But I'm really proud of how many of them take advantage of it. I mean, you can certainly tell them about it, but it's up to them on whether they choose to be a part of it and have the withholding and invest. And it makes my heart proud when they level jump and they say, "Oh, I'm increasing my IRA," and that's great. That's a win.
Wow, yeah. And you were telling me that the rule in your crew of 35, the majority of them take advantage of the IRA wealth building opportunity, and those that don't, excuse me, tend to be the exception to the rule. But the rule is your people are very much in the IRA part of life, which is that is very unique. That's unusual.
Very good. Yeah, they are. The majority of them all take advantage of that.
The other thing you and I were chatting about is that you started this in 2012 when you began. You kind of launched your first salon where you're going summit style. So some of your people have been with you several years to invest. So my hunch is, and I said to you, while it's very personal, private, that you have people that are very much high into 5-figure, 6-figure W-2s. I beg your pardon, IRAs from their own investment and the growth on that investment. So people that are 30 something have something to show for their life that, frankly, a lot of people at 50 something, 60 something, after 3-4 decades behind the chair, they don't come close to that. So that's a very big deal.
It is a big deal. I think so too, Michael.
Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you, because you don't seem to, and I want to make sure I'm not presumptuous, because your people have an opportunity to experience what they're experiencing at Posh, I call it your unpoachable, or you're not as vulnerable to being poached by the self-employed community, whether it's suites or whatever, because your people can see, there really isn't a lot that I can enjoy over there that I'm not getting here and then some. Talk about that part, because the hot topic today for a commission salon is I continue to lose my people to the self-employed community, and when they leave, I'm having even a harder time recruiting to replace, and then when I grow them, to retain them. So it's like a machine, right? How is that different for you?
Well, I'll start by saying we're very blessed to have a summit school right in our community that gives us a great opportunity for educated stylists right out of the gate. But I think some difference. We have a huge focus on education, and we do a lot of education within the salon. This year, we brought in Collar Authority, and we've got 15 stylists who are taking the test to be Redken Collar certified. So we really invest in building their careers and building their education, their certifications, and helping them achieve that next level. But I think we also just are very real with them in the numbers of, if you do A, B, and C, and you hit level 4, and you have earned a associate stylist, the potential of your income and what you can do in a lifetime just far exceeds what you can do by yourself as a booth renter. And I think that they see that. They see a healthy, good culture within the salon. We spend as much time with each other as we do at home with our families. So that's very important to us that we get along. We're a family there. I always say I want it to feel like Cheers, where everybody knows your name, and our guests feel that. I've had guests say before, in other salons, I feel like I can't talk to other stylists, and I love that everyone talks to me here.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing, that feel good. If I can't get you in today, and Sally down here needs to do your hair, that's okay. And we're very much a team. But I think another important thing, Michael, is don't sweat the small stuff. I think sometimes you can get so into so many rules that we lose sight of people just being people, and that sometimes there's hard times in life, and someone's going through a divorce, or someone maybe had a miscarriage, and just meeting people where they are and loving them through it, and being flexible on life.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's a humanity that is inside of the business, and I think people feel like that there's a holism or a holistic feel there, and that like I said, they're, in addition to what do we call it? Growing people for a living. We're also helping them to grow their life and navigate their life, and I think that's part of your unique value added. But I think it's enlightened self-interest, if you will, that the brand now has become stronger than any individual or individuals inside of the brand, so that if and when people do leave, the client has an opportunity to choose, like, where do I, and that's one of those good for all and at the harm of none. But it gives you sustainability. And again, I love that term, unpoachable. Poaching has always been a part of, it's like the elephant in the living room in the beauty industry. and you're just you're kind of like shark proof because of the models that you're developing. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Well, we're coming to the end, and before I end, I just wanted to ask you, people watching tonight, my board is kind of blowing up. People are sending you love and commitment, and then there's going to be a whole lot more people watching because this will live on all of my platforms. A salon owner that's listening tonight, looking at you, relating to you, identifying with you, is going, she's in a place I'd love to be. She was in a place that I'm at. I wonder if I took the giant leap of faith like she did, could I be in the place she's at now? Anything that you can say to them that would kind of compel them to take the action that you took, what is it, 8, 9, 10 years ago?
Sure. Absolutely, you can do it. I mean, I believe that wholeheartedly. I think that if you put your mind to anything, you can do it. I think it's really important, if you haven't attended a summit, attend a summit and learn the business behind a business, and get a coach, be accountable to somebody. I Googled, I read a lot. I just kept digging in for more information, more knowledge. I kept attending classes, but an excuse that I think myself and a lot of people make is it can't happen in a small town. Yeah, that happens in New York City, but not in little Midwest Indiana, but it can. And that's a pretty cool, neat thing that it can happen. It can happen wherever you're at, and it's reachable for anyone.
Right. Well, if people, I'm going to encourage people to reach out to you, either DM you on Instagram or message you on Facebook to have any comments. And but you're a prodigy and a poster child for what's possible when you kind of just make the decision to go. So want to congratulate you. Thank you for being on, and to promise me, if you would, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to come back for an encore, because I think you're just getting warmed up, and I'd love the opportunity to interview a couple of your people that are, I'm in six-figure territory on my W-2. I'm working 24 hours a week, which that almost sounds like a contradiction. Like, how could you, first of all, how do you make $100,000 a year plus, never mind make it inside of 24 hours and a week, and some of your people are moving into that territory, which is, oh, by the way, this is why they don't leave me to go rent that suites. So I'd love to bring them on and get them chatting, because I think their experience would inspire others. So promise me you'll help me to make that happen.
Absolutely. I'm sure they'd love it.
All right. Listen, it's been a long day. I'm going to let you get back to the fam and have a little dinner. But thank you very much. We're going to give it up for Lindsay one more time, you guys. We'll see you, my friends. Stay well. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was cool. That was very cool. I think you want to give it up for her. One more time. I loved the idea that that she's not only, what did we call it? Growing people for a living, doing hair for fun, growing people for a living, but she's also helping people to develop a life. So that, at the end of, by the time they're done with their, by the time they're, before they're halfway through their career, that they're at a place at 30-something that many people are not at the end of their career. I mean, her people have not only moving into six-figure W-2s inside of 24, 25-hour work weeks, but they're also building wealth for themselves, so that by the time they're in their late 30-something, front end of 40-something, I mean, you start looking at, my friends, that's somebody that isn't halfway through their career yet, and they have the kind of life that most hairdressers, with all due respect, I love you too much to not be this candid, they don't have that at the end of a 40-year career. That's the value proposition that Lindsay Pyle is making to somebody, and Kokomo, Indiana, that says, take our ride. You're 20-something now. Hang out with us. We're going to do more than get you to a great livelihood and lifestyle. We're going to show you how to create something extraordinary to show for, and we're going to call that wealth. So that by the time you're on the back end of 30-something, you look and you go, whoa, I've built for myself and my family through the brand something that most people don't have at the end of a 40-year ride. I have at 30-something what many people don't have at 60-something. That's the new narrative. That's the new value proposition. If somebody was saying, boy, we've had more change in 2020 and 2021 than in the last 2 decades. Yes, it took us a decade to get through 2020. But as we're moving into the post-COVID era, the age of profound disruption, for a salon, commission salon that's asking questions like, I not only want to survive this, I want to thrive. How do I need to reimagine my business? How do I need to reinvent it? Well, don't look now, but we just had a conversation of someone that's doing it as we speak. And so that I love the term, by the way, unpoachable. That right now, the single biggest, hottest topic in the beauty industry is commission salon owners are being poached by self-employed suites. And some, and I say this with love and that it's almost like the competition is sending us thank you notes. Keep up the good work. And it's like, no, I'm going to build something around me now that you can't poach my people, because my people are getting everything from my brand and a whole lot more than they could go from being self-employed. Yes, that we're an exception to the rule, but we are the exception. That's where we're going. And that's a very new, different, radical narrative, conversation. So give it up one more time for Lindsay Pyle. All right. You're hanging out with me on Michael Cole Millionaire Stylist. This will be edited and it'll be put on other platforms on my Michael Cole Millionaire Stylist Instagram page. It'll get edited, and we will also put it on IGTV on some micro learning. So hang out with us there. Hang out with us. I'm now putting a lot of newer production value video content on Summit 365, SummitSalon365.com. We've just put a top 20 emotional wellness piece on that platform a couple of months ago, getting ready to put a brand new training program that myself and Mary Cole have developed called mindfulness training. So mindful living, and it's a transformational training program that's going to be on that .com by summer's end. So and the annual membership for that is like peanuts. So once you're in there, it's all streamed and your people can watch it literally 365 days a year. So for goodness sake, take care of that. Make sure that you make that happen. It was a wonderful. Lindsay Pyle said, go to Summit, get a coach. She was really pushing on that, and now we have virtual coaching. So I would invite you to get on our 800 number or our .com, summitsalon.com. Schedule a complimentary, virtual, digital, Zoom consultation with one of our coaches, and we'll teach you what's possible. That's for you as well. I've got on Summit Salon, SalonCalcs.com, or you can go to my Instagram, Michael Cole Millionaire Stylist Instagram page, hit my link tree, and we've got all kinds of gamified goal-setting calculators on how to set a goal to be a millionaire, how to set a goal to do $100,000 a year, and we call it the Dream Machine. Actually, that came from Randy Kunkel. I took the name, and how to save money to build your 7-figure wealth plan, how to get debt-free. So these are all calcs. They're all at compliments of L'Oreal. You can get on that .com and use them and make that part of the coaching process as well. So we always like to end by thanking L'Oreal. We are powered by L'Oreal, and not only the L'Oreal brand, the family of brand, but also Salon Emotion. So please support. When you support L'Oreal in this way, they're in a position to continue to give us the financial resource we need to bring all of this to you. And I don't like to use free. Free is, I don't like that word in this. I would say it complements of them because there's a partnership here. So their brands are Redken, L'Oreal Professional, Purology, Biolage, Matrix, Pulp Riot, Mazzani, Shoe, Kerastase. Support their brands. And we have now many salons in the Summit community that are black elite in these brands. And basically what that means is they use their points to fund coaching, to fund training. So there's a whole lot of new, exciting, radical programs going on there. Look into them, and I think you'll find that this is the next chapter. Great. So good to be with you. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a couple of days. I've got some really exciting guests to bring you. I'm actually bringing the founder of Mevo 2. It's a point of sale, salon point of sale to. I'm gonna engage him in a real rigorous conversation around salon data and how we use that to set goals and motivate people to kind of level up their performance from average tickets to rebooking to retention, and that'll be coming at you sometime next week. So stay tuned. More will be revealed. Leslie, you're welcome, and we'll see you. We'll see you soon.